Submission is a 2017 American drama film written and directed by Richard Levin. The film stars Stanley Tucci as a college professor who becomes obsessed with a student. Stanley Tucci's character, Ted Swenson, starts his career as a creative writing instructor at the Houston College in Vermont after publishing his first book, which brings him some notoriety. However, he ends up staying in that position for about 10 years and eventually becomes a tenured professor. He reads the first chapter of the book, X, written by one of his students named Angela Argo, and is impressed by the writing. When Angela took his class, she wrote some crude poems, which his co-worker, Magda, informs him about. She also claims that Angela actually insisted on donating the poems to the college library. The poetry about a phone sex worker was considered fairly vulgar by librarians, but they choose to keep it out of goodwill. Ted borrows that poetry collection that is mostly made up of sexual phone sex sessions between clients and Angela 911. Later, he and his wife, Sherry, go to dinner at his colleague's house where they talk about the new campus sexual harassment policy and how political correctness is influencing their teaching methods. Angela responds by giving Ted increasingly explicit final chapters of her book in exchange for Ted praising her writing and encouraging her to write more. Ted begins to picture himself as the science teacher in her book, which is about a teenage girl who sexualizes her scientific teacher, but he attempts to keep things professional. One day, Angela requests that he drive her to Burlington so that she can get a new laptop. She invites him into her dorm room to set up her computer when she gets back to the school. Ted pursues her despite his reluctance, and when she eventually comes on to him, they start having sex right once. Before they can continue, though, Ted's weak tooth pops out and they decide to put off having sex until later. Ted runs into one of his other pupils as he exits her room, and the student gives him a dubious look. One day in class, Angela bluntly remarks to a different student that her characters and plot are weak. The students anticipate Ted to cactize her, but he doesn't. So, when everyone has left, Angela begs him to send his agent a copy of her book. Ted reluctantly accepts and meets with his agent, who is uninterested in reading a debut author's book. Later, Ted tries to explain the problem to Angela, but she becomes enraged and yells that the only reason she slept with him was to use him as a conduit to a reputable agency. Angela furiously walks away as Ted, startled, declares that he didn't think their relationship had anything to do with business. The following day, Ted receives a call from the university board informing him that Angela has accused him of sexual harassment and has provided audio of their discussion from the day before as evidence. Everyone, including his wife, blames him, and after his students and some faculty members testify against him, he loses his job, marriage, and reputation. However, Angela gets a call from Ted's agent, who now shows interest in her work in light of the controversy. 15 months later, Ted is seen writing his memories in a cafeteria, and when he sees a woman at his table reading the X novel, he asks her how she likes the book.